Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Maybe we're taking a look at By Grand Central Station. I Sat Down and Wept by Elizabeth Smart. Have you heard of this one?
Oh, absolutely. It's a fascinating read, to say the least.
Yeah, it's a novella based on her own life.
A real love affair.
A love affair, and pretty intense, too.
Definitely.
I read that some even compare her style to the Song of Solomon.
That's a pretty high comparison. I can see it, though.
Right.
So poetic.
Poetic and emotional. Definitely not a light read.
Not at all. One of the things that makes this book so interesting is how Smart manages to, well, how she combines these really raw emotions with some serious social commentary.
That's really interesting. Can you tell us more about that? Like, what kind of social commentary?
Sure. So you have to remember the time period. It was written in the 1940s.
Gotcha.
It was a time when women were expected to, follow certain roles.
Right.
And Smart's protagonist, well, she's not exactly content with those expectations. You see this yearning for something more. Like she wants intellectual fulfillment, creative expression, and yeah, real passionate love.
It sounds almost like a rebellion against the norms of the time.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so powerful. Smart is exploring themes like female agency and the right to define your own happiness. Themes that were, well, they were quite controversial back then.
So we know the book is based on Smart's own life, but how much is truth and how much is fiction?
That's a great question. The book is often labeled as semi-autobiographical.
Right.
It's definitely inspired by her life, her experiences, but it's crucial to approach it as fiction. Think of it as Smart taking her personal story and then elevating it.
Taking it to another level.
Exactly. She creates this incredibly powerful and symbolic narrative.
Mm-hmm.
The emotions, the challenges, the desires, they're all there, but they're woven into a story that goes beyond a simple retelling of her life.
I've heard some people describe the book as being very emotionally intense, even overwhelming at times.
Huh.
What do you think? And how does Smart create this intense atmosphere?
Oh, it's definitely intense. Smart doesn't shy away from strong emotions, and the way she uses imagery is, well, it's just brilliant.
Like what? Can you give us an example?
Sure. There's this one passage where she describes the feeling of longing, like a deep yearning. She compares it to a bird trapped within my ribs, beating its wings against my bones.
Wow.
Powerful, right?
Yeah, that's incredibly vivid. Definitely gives you a sense of the rawness of the emotion.
Exactly. And that's what Smart does so well throughout the book.
I can also imagine that the book's frankness, especially when it comes to sexuality, might not have been well received by everyone back then.
Oh, you're absolutely right. The book was extremely controversial when it was first published.
I can see why.
Remember, open discussions about female sexuality, especially female desire, were pretty much taboo in those days. And Smart just blew past those boundaries.
It must have been a real shock for some readers.
Oh, definitely. But that's what makes it so groundbreaking. It challenged the status quo and forced people to confront these topics.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into By Grand Central Station, I Sat Down and Wept, I have a question for our listeners.
A question.
Yes, a question for everyone out there. If this book is a reflection of its time, all the societal pressures and rebellions of that era, how would a story like this play out in today's world? Would the themes resonate differently? Or are some human experiences, like love and the desire for self-discovery, are those truly timeless? Maybe it's time to add this one to your reading list and see what you think.
I like that.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.
See you.